Hello, wonderful world of YouTube. This is Bahamut2K456, aka Baha, and today I am bringing to you a review of the MOGA Gamepad for Android devices. So, the last time I did a review, it was of the Dream Gear case for the 3DS, and when I did that review, it was totally unscripted and done in one take. People seem to really like that style, so I'm keeping the format for this one. Let me know what you think. The first thing you'll notice when you buy this device is probably going to be the packaging. I apologize, I can't fit it all in the shot. This tripod is very small, but it's a very sort of appealing packaging. I like the orange on black theme they've got going on, so this looked really cool to me, and for some reason the retailer I bought it from cut this huge chunk out of the box on the bottom. In fact, it actually cut all the way down into this little orange box that was below it. But it's very nice, and really, I like it a lot. But that's really not important to the utility of the device itself. It does, however, come with this very nice leather bag. I wasn't expecting this. When I pulled this out, I kind of tossed it off to the side, but when I started fiddling with it in my spare time, it's got this really cool sort of clasp at the top. All you have to do is push down on either side and it just opens up, and the gamepad just slides right in. It's really nice. I wish more people would include this sort of bag with their product, because I use it a lot. I bring this sort of gamepad everywhere now, hint as to how good it is, but when I first got this out of the packaging, I was kind of off-put. To me, it doesn't look very appealing to hold, and these sort of little nubby things at the bottom look like they'd really dig into your hands. I didn't think it'd be very comfortable, to be honest. I made sure to buy it from somewhere that I would be able to easily return it to, which was eBay in this case. And I wasn't disappointed, actually. When I got the device, I flipped it over and looked at the bottom, and there are these sort of concave finger rests, and they're very comfortable for long hours of play. I have really big hands, and I've never run into any issues, so it's really cool. In fact, this is a Galaxy S II, if you can't read the back of it, and it's roughly the same size as an iPhone 4, maybe a little bit bigger, and just for a size comparison, my hand fits very easily over the top of this, so I have very massive hands. This doesn't prove to be an issue for me, so I think it'll be a comfortable size for just about anyone. It's powered by two AAA batteries that are inside of these little battery flaps, which I won't pull off because they're a pain in the ass to get back on. It has 4 face buttons, 2 sticks, start and select. By the way, bottom one start, top select, feels kind of unintuitive. And it has 1 set of shoulder buttons, which was something I could not find no matter how hard I looked. So, the device itself is very solid feeling. Like I just said, it's very comfortable to hold. The only problem I have with it, in all honesty, is the analog sticks. Now, I'm actually a fan of circle pads. I have a 3DS and a PSP, and I very much like the circle pads on them. But these, they feel just kind of weird. I'm going to go ahead and flip up the center real quick, though. So, basically, the right one actually feels fine for the most part, but the left one, and this might just be my device, but it's super stiff. Like, the rubber on top is made out of a sort of slippery material, and it's so hard to push around that I have a difficult time keeping my thumb on it. And it's starting to go away the more I use it, and I tried contacting MOGA about it too. I never got a response. So, yeah. The controller itself is very nice to use for extended periods of play, which is actually a good thing, because obviously if you're gaming on the go, you're going to want to be able to play for long periods of time while in a car or on a bus or something. So let's show you the locking mechanism. The top simply extends upwards when you push your phone against it, and then it clips into place on the bottom. Turn your phone on and unlock it. And there you go. So with the phone on it, it's still very comfortable to use. It gives it a sort of weight toward the back that actually makes it feel better. But the software that comes with it is not the nicest thing around. So the first thing you have to do is turn the MOGA on, and you'll notice this starts blinking blue. That's the Bluetooth link. It's looking for the device. You have to open up the Pivot app and click Sync New MOGA Controller. There's a very simple sort of setup process here. You just follow it all the way through, and it'll actually be pretty easy to set up. Well, I'm going to see if it actually detects it. MOGA found, sync now. And this is where the review is going to slow down a little bit, because I'm going to be mostly waiting on this device to do its thing. Generate passkey, come on, there we go. So, syncing with the actual main app is not difficult, but for reasons I'll go to in just a moment, it's also not ideal. Let's hit accept. And you should notice that this light right here will turn green, showing that it is indeed paired. I'm making a liar out of myself. I've never run into issues with this before, so this is kind of funny. It's supposed to take somewhere between 10 and 30 seconds to pair. I don't understand why it's having issues. It might be because I'm in airplane mode, actually. Let me go ahead and disable that. And there we go. And immediately it turns green because I'm stupid. So, alright. I guess that means if I get a text, I'm sorry for you. But you'll notice that it's telling me I have no games installed yet. I'm not sure how well that's actually showing on the camera. Come on, focus. But that's actually a blatant lie. Through this app itself, I have Sonic CD and Pac-Man installed. So, yeah, there's the first knock. The actual app itself, once you're inside of it, blows. So, let's go out here and pull up a game that this controller actually works with, such as Jet Set Radio, which, by the way, is a fantastic app. I didn't expect too much of it, but it's pretty good. So, I'm going to let this load up and then come right back, and as soon as I'm in-game, I will start this camera again. Alright, we are back. I am currently in-game. I'm not going to be showing you too much gameplay, I just wanted to show you how it works. Now, you can probably see this, but there's little to no input delay on the actual device itself, which is very nice. And for apps that are compatible, it's great. I'm actually going to go ahead and jump over these guys and get the beat behind them. So, yeah, for games that it's compatible with, and note that I've said that twice now, this is actually a very great little controller, and I haven't run into any issues whatsoever for stuff that's listed as compatible. There I go into the water. But, really, it's fantastic. It's great for stuff that works, like Jet Grind Radio and Sonic CD and Grand Theft Auto Vice City, but not 3, because that's not compatible for some reason. For everything it works for, it's great. But then we run into the issue of the fact that the driver for this is not a generic Android driver. In fact, it is probably the furthest from it that you're going to find. Absolutely no app will recognize it through pivots unless it is directly listed as compatible. This is an issue because there are only around 40 games that actually recognize it, but if you look on the Android store, you can also find an unofficial app that basically claims to make it more of a generic sort of thing, where you can remap all of the keys and make it work properly with all apps. Now, I've run into a little bit of an issue here. Since I'm trying to have my cake and enjoy it too, I have the Pivot app and the generic app installed. So every time I want to switch back and forth, I have to reboot. Because if I do not, then I run into a massive amount of latency. Because the two drivers conflict with one another, and it's just really not fun for anyone involved. So as soon as this thing reboots, I will be back so I can show you how this generic driver installs. Okay, we are back, and I'm now going to show you this wonderful generic driver that someone has made for free. So you open up the app itself, and you're immediately greeted with this long list of settings. There's something called System Mode, which actually makes it function more like a PS3 controller, but you can only use it if you're rooted, because otherwise your device won't have access to the proper files it needs. So I'm not rooted, so I have to use IME mode, which essentially means there's this thing called the MOGA IME that this app installs. You have to go to language settings and enable it. I'll show you how to do that quickly. Basically, you go down to language and input, and right here, there's going to be something called MOGA IME. You put a check next to it, it'll tell you it'll be able to read your credit card information and whatnot, but you don't need to worry about it because this is the only input it's actually accepting anyway. So then you can just click default and set it to MOGA IME. That is absolutely 100% necessary. Then you scroll down and hit select device, turn your MOGA on. Oh, that's good. And then you select BD and A, and basically your MOGA is immediately going to start searching for this device. Now, in the past, I've always had it take a very long amount of time. However, while I was talking over this, it actually paired up. So basically, there's no sync button in these drivers, which is something that confused me at first. You actually have to select the IME after opening this app and just let it go after selecting it under devices. So, it's weird, because I was struggling with it for a very long time. I actually had to use Google to try and look it up, but I couldn't find anything, and when I was letting it sit there, it just kind of synced. It can take anywhere between 10 seconds and a minute. The very first time I did it, it took about 80 seconds, which was kind of crazy, so I thought it wasn't going to work. But now you can see when I press left and right, and up and down, it's actually selecting icons, which is always a good sign because it means it's being detected as a generic sort of IME joypad. So, for an example of an app that is not normally compatible, I will open up FPSE, which is a PS1 emulator. We're going to load up Einhander, because it's an amazing game and everyone should play it, including you watching this review. Go do it right now. And we'll let that boot up. As soon as I am in the game, I will resume this recording. Okay, we are back, and as you can see, I am currently in the middle of Einhander. So, when you go into the Settings app, there is an option to rebind keys. You can set every single touch on this gamepad to be a corresponding keyboard key for Android itself. That means that you don't have analog stick support, so this is essentially functioning as a circle D-pad, which is not necessarily the best. Also, I'm playing through a viewfinder, so I'm pretty confident I just crashed into a sign, but I can't really see it. But yeah, you can see it has full support now. Everything is working, even L and R, and I can shoot and I can fly around, and it's great, and everything works, and it's dandy. But there's just one problem. Why should I have to do this in the first place? Why could this just not be a generic Bluetooth gamepad along the lines of a Wiimote or 6-axis controller when using the 6-axis app? There's absolutely no reason for it. It's just plain stupid. There was no reason for Power A Productions, or whatever the hell they're calling themselves, to make this anything else. They're trying to give it a sort of professional quality by using the Pivot app, but really what it turns into is just a real pain in the ass. You have to go and download generic drivers that are really finicky to get working just to use it as a proper gamepad. And for me, that really detracts from the experience. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a great little device, and I absolutely love using it. I will continue to use it, and maybe someday I'll be able to get this replaced and have a left stick that works properly. But I can't fully recommend it to the average person just because of the fact that if you want to use it with games that aren't listed as compatible, and again, there are only about 40, then you have to use that finicky generic driver, and it's just silly. There's no reason. So, I guess if you're playing a lot of games on the go, I would recommend this device to you. But if you're just the average person who's getting kind of tired of touchscreen controls, I would probably actually recommend picking up an adapter for your PS3 controller to plug it into your phone. They're very widely available. They're only about $15, and if you look it up through Google, you should be able to find the site pretty easily. Basically, there's a cable that goes from the top of the device itself into the bottom of your phone, and it works all handy-dandy. If you have a DualShock 3, I'd heavily recommend that over this. But I needed a portable solution that would fit in my pocket, and this is it. To be honest, driver issues aside, this is the best gamepad that is currently available for Android that is designed just for Android. So, for that, I give it a thumbs up.